The Sikha we will be learning is look at the Sikhs, Chelik of Hey, the first Sikha, the Parshas Lech Lecho. Ik dem was Parsha sein hebt sich an mit dem Dibur Hashem Lavrom, Lech Lecho me'artzecho me'lattecho, geim ve'eschel ge Godel, concerning that the Parsha Lech Lecho starts with Hashem speaking to Avram, and he says to him, Lech Lecho me'artzecho, go away from your land, from your birthplace, and I will make you into a big nation. Stellt sich der Ramban. So on these words, the Ramban writes like this. Und he says like this. As the Parsha lebier akol inyan. The Parsha, the way it's written in the Torah, didn't explain itself. Kima tam omer le'akadosh baruch hazeh v'artzecha. What's the reason that Hashem told him to leave his land? And veitive imach. And because of that, I will be good with you. In other words, it seems like he's saying, you leave the land, and as a reward for leaving the land, I will be very good for you. What kind of good? A teva, something good that never happened. And he says it, without even saying first that Avram served Hashem. A tzaddik tomim, or Avram was a tzaddik. So it doesn't say he was tzaddik. That's number one. The seder of the pasuk usually is to say is halach lafonai. First he says, go in front of me. Sishma bekeli, listen to me. And then I'll do good for you. In other words, for listening to Hashem, you get a reward. Like by David, it says, if you listen, you'll get rewarded by Shleime. Like it says in the whole Torah, if you go in my chukim, and then I'll some promises to give a reward. Like it says, if you listen to the voice of Hashem, you'll get reward. But Yitzchak, it says, Ba'avur Avram Avdi, because of Avram who did what Hashem wants, I'll get reward. But to promise reward just for leaving the land, there is no reason here. The Torah doesn't give a reason. In other words, it doesn't say in the Torah that the Eibishter telling you, because you're going to listen to me, I will give you the reward. I'll be good to you, etc., etc., and all the different things Hashem said to him. It says if you leave the land, as if just leaving the land is a reason to get reward. And it seems like here, if you go into the details, that there are two parts to the kasha that the Ramban asks, even though it's not so clear in the Ramban's words. One kasha is, why doesn't the pasuk first say who Avram was, that Avram was a tzaddik? It starts off just saying Hashem spoke to Avram, leave the land. Why doesn't he say first who Avram? We know Avram is from the previous parsha. Avram is from the family of Terach, but we don't know his specialty. Why did Hashem speak to Avram? So that's one kasha. That's the words of the Ramban where he says that he wasn't magdim, that Avram was able to It doesn't say Avram was a tzaddik. Now that we know he was special, now we understand Hashem spoke to this special person. But here it doesn't say that. That's one kasha. And the second kasha is that the pasuk does not say that you will get reward because you will be listening to me. It seems like you'll get reward because you're leaving the land, as if leaving the land is a good enough reason to get reward. So the Ramban asks, what is it leaving the land? Doesn't explain. What is the meaning of leaving the land? For that you will get reward, that I'll give you all the brachas. And he's mavayed them tam, and he explains the reason like this. Since the people of Ur Kasdim did all kinds of bad things to Avram because he believed in Hashem, and there is von sie entlaufen, and he ran away from them, Loleches Arza Knan, to go to Knan, this Sakev Bechoran, and he stayed in Choran, which means if you look back at the Parsha, Avram Avinu was in Ur Kasdim. In Ur Kasdim he left. He left going to Knan, which is Eretz, but he stopped off in Choran. And he stayed in Choran, and now he was in Choran. And Hashem tells Avram, leave your land home, your land. That means leave Choran. That means you started leaving Ur Kasdim from your father's house. Continue. You stopped in Choran, continue. And so that's what happened here. Since he ran away from Ur Kasdim to go to Canaan, and he now is staying in Choran, Omerles, Hashem said to him, Lazev Gamela, leave these people alone too. Leave these people too. The last says, do as you planned at the beginning, should serve Hashem and call out to the people for the sake of Hashem in the chosen land, which is at its Canaan. V'shom yigdal shmei v'yizborcha b'akeimayim. Then your name will be great, and everybody, the goyim, will bless themselves with you. Nita Zevis is given by Urkazdim, not like it was in Urkazdim, Shoyim Avazim, the Makalal, and they say they embarrassed him, they cursed him, the Somei they put him into pit, they became shration to the fire. In other words, what the Ramban is saying here is that to answer the kasha, that what's the reward for going? So he says it's not a reward. He's just telling him the place where you are now is no good for you. People don't like it and they curse you, everything. Leave, go to Canaan, then your name will be good. So it's a result of your going. It's not a reward. And then he continued, but the question is, if this is not a reward and it's a reason to leave because don't stay with these people, go to other people, why doesn't the Torah go into that? Why doesn't the Torah say that? Torah should have said, these people are bad, leave these people, just like in Rekazdim you left, leave Choron, and B'meila, things will be good. So the Rebbe says, the Ramban says, and the Firtuis, and the Ramban says, Aval HaTorah letirtz l'harich b'deis evdei avedizor, the Torah did not want to go into at length in what these people who worshipped Avodah were doing, and the Torah doesn't want to go into the dialogue and the things that happened between Avraham Avinu and the Kazdim concerning Amunah of the Eibishter. Just like when it comes to Deir Enish, the Torah is very short about it, because Torah doesn't want to go into those details. It doesn't go into the new Avodah Zarah that they made up in the time of Deir Enish, because these things the Torah doesn't want to go into. So here too. So it comes out that Ramban learns that this Abish is telling him, leave the place where you are. If you leave the place where you are, things will be good for you because these are better people. And the Torah didn't tell us what's the reason for him to leave because these people are bad. The Torah doesn't want to go into these things. So that's what the Ramban says. So the Rebbe says like this, as bleibt aber nicht glattig, even after the answer of the Ramban, it's not clear. It's not simple. The other question that we said, why doesn't the Torah mention, even in short, Shoya Avram Eved Elikim, a tzaddik tom, Avram served Hashem, Avram is a tzaddik tomim. Al tzaddik as an introduction to Vayemer Hashem al Avram, that Hashem told Avram to leave Lech loch al Erzecha. Val derech v'gifin by Neich. We find by Neich, as far dem dibur Hashem to Neich, b'tchilas Parshas Neich, before Hashem spoke to Neich, in the beginning of Parshat Neich, in the Posik Magdem Friya, Bereisha said it, the beginning of the set, the Torah starts off, Neach is tzaddik. Neach was a tzaddik. Oh, so Neach is a tzaddik. Now we understand why Hashem spoke to Neach. He's a tzaddik. He's a special person. Hashem spoke to him. And noch früher, besof Parshas Breishis, it even says earlier in the end of Parshas Breishis, the Neach motzachein bein Hashem, that Neach found grace in the eyes of Hashem. So we see that Torah first does that. Torah first describes his specialty, and then the Torah goes, and Hashem spoke to the special person. Why doesn't the Torah do this by Avram? That seems to be part of the kasha of the Ramban, and that part of the kasha he didn't answer. And in Orah 10, the Rebbe says that in the part that the Ramban does answer is that he left because he told him to leave because go away from these people, etc., etc. So the Rebbe says, according to him, it was not because you get your reward for listening to me and going to Eretz Canaan. This was a result, a natural result. You're leaving these people. You're going to be with better people. Things will be good for you. If that's the pshat, the Rebbe asks, Lech he says, go and I will make you a great nation. It's not making, according to the Rambam, it's not making to a great nation. Go and you will be automatically a great nation because people won't bother you and things will go good for you. Which is Loshna Meira Gemulu Schar, for the Loshna of the Posik and Mashma like a Schar. So that's one kasha. But the other kasha is, why doesn't the Torah mention first that the specialty of Avram? And that kasha the Ramban doesn't answer. So in Orah 11, the Rebbe says that in the Rabbeinu Bechai it says that he does mention first the Mile of Avram by saying he was an Ur Kasdim. And Ur Kasdim represents that he was thrown into the fire, etc., etc. But the Rebbe says it's a Shaila because that mentioned Ur Kasdim in Posik is connected to Terach and to Horon. So it's not Negeya specifically, but Negeya Taishim again Avram. So it's hard to say that's the reason. So we're back to the question, why doesn't the Torah write first that who Avram was, the greatness of Avram? like it does Benegea to Noach. But Nora 15 says it's not the same like by Noach, because by Noach it's important to mention the Akdome, because all this, when Hashem spoke to Noach, what did he tell him? Make a teva to save yourself, and you should be safe from the Mabel. So there it's important to say that Noach was a tzaddik. So maybe over there it says it. So it's not the same over here. But the kasha is a kasha anyway. Why doesn't the Torah tell us first that Avram was a tzaddik? So if we find it by Noach, so the Rebbe says, "Alachas kama v'kama b'gein Avram." Certain concerning Avram, there is what to write. Was it Midrash Chazal ve'etzel barucha ve'engedel ma'ilose v'tzitkose? In Chazal we find at length the great milas, the specialty, and the tzitkes is ein avedes Hashem mesiras nefesh noch zayin dik nurkazdim v'choran. How he served Hashem with mesiras nefesh while he was in nurkazdim v'choran. V'dos yegivend ha'akdama v'sibitz v'amiras Hashem lechocha, which was the reason why Hashem told him to leave. So, and over there, he did all kinds of great things already. We don't find anything about the greatness of Avram till Lech Lecho. We don't even find that he was different, special over the members, the rest of the family. There, in the end of Parshas Neach, we just find Avram as one of the members in the family of Terach. We don't know so far that he was a special person. Now, the Rebbe in Order 19 says, even though Rashi in Parshas Neach, Sof Parshas Neach, does bring this whole thing of being thrown into the fire, etc., etc., and Rashi's Pshuto Shel Mikra. So Rashi explains the posik, so we can look at it as if the posik is really talking about it and telling us the Mesiras Nefesh of Avram, because that's what Rashi says pshat in the posik. But the Rebbe says, nevertheless, this is not written in the Torah. It's only Torah Shebal Peh. That's the way Torah Shebal Peh explains the posik. It's not Torah Shebal. And in that itself, we see the Lashon in Rashi is not Rabbi saying no pirshu, that the Chachamim explain pshat of the posik. Then you could say this is what the posik means. So we could still maybe say it's included in the posik. What Rashi uses, it's a medrash agoda, it's agadat, it's a medrash, which is negeya to pshat, but that's not the pshat of the posik to say that's as if it's written in the Torah. So what the question is, why is it not written in the Torah, the godless of Avram? Before it speaks about Hashem telling Avram Lech Lecho. Yeshlemer the beer in them. So the Rebbe says the explanation is like this. Das Chol of Nam Yisrael is from Avram Avinu. Psere given der Erste Ried. Echadoi Avram. We know the beginning of the Jewish nation starts with Avram Avinu. He is referred to in Tanakh, in Cheskel, as Echadoi Avram. He was one. And what the Svarim teach, it means he was the first. Avram was considered the first Yid. Und bei Avram und Gufa hat sein Ausgeteiltkeit verscharben die Ordnung schon bei Arze Meladete, nach vielem Beisoviv, and in Avram itself. The specialty that he's different than other people in his land, other people in his birthplace, other people even from his father's home. Where did the specialty of Avram start? When Hashem told Avram, go away from them. That's how it says in the beginning of the Parsha, go away for all these people. This is where we start seeing the difference of Avram and the rest of the people. Und der Miet der Teire hat dann dem Sipper wegen dem Yichud von Avram und Hashem al Avram gamer. And since the Teire starts to tell us the specialty, the exclusivity or whatever we'll call it of Avram, with Vayemer Hashem al Avram, Hashem speaking to him, Choch as Asach's man frier, Ishen Hikir Avram as Beirei, even though a long time before when Hashem spoke to him, said Lech Lecho. He already recognized Hashem, and he's niskarer geworden zum Eibishten, he was close to Hashem. Und hat mefarsen gwen lechol leilam, she'eshem alaka echad lechol leilam, v'lei roi lavit. And as the Rambam says, that he spread to the whole world, that there is one God for the whole world, and you have to serve him. Bis zum Meister Nefesh sein sich noch sein dik in Nurkazdim, he went on Mesiras Nefesh, he was ready to give up his life for Hashem, so he did that. And nevertheless, the Torah didn't write that. So by that mere fact that the Torah didn't write Avram's Aveda that he did till Hashem spoke to him, by doing that is the Torah madgish the mahus from Avram. By doing this, the Torah stresses, tells us what is the mahus of what Avram is. What is the quality of Avram, which means not only from Avram, but from Eden. This represents the quality of Eden, from Yederit, from every Yid. What do we see from that? We see what made Avram special, that he's a special person, he's the Yid which is special by the Eibishter. different by everybody else. Bei alle anderen Umes ist er Kira v'shaychet zum Beire und verbunden mit seiner Yediyah v'akore im Beire. By other nations, their connection, the closeness and connection to the creator of the world is connected with their understanding, the recognition, their knowledge of the creator. Und durch dem verbinden sie sich mit dem Eibishter seinem Mekayim Tzveisev. And by recognizing who the Eibishter is, they connect themselves to him and they fulfill his mitzvahs. By Am Yisrael aber besteht sehr Iker Kirevel Elokus in seiner Metzires Alziten. By Yidden, their main connection to Hashem is the fact that they are Yidden. Nicht in dem, was sie mit Zadatzmam der Heben sich zu haben, Akorem der Beirelom. It's not because they on their own elevated themselves to have a recognition in the creator of the world, und zu verbinden sich mit ihm and to connect yourself to him. Nor in them was their Eibishter dazu is geteilt. It's not something that came from their Aveda, that they did something to get close to Hashem. It's something that came directly from the Eibishter. The Eibishter, Hashem separated them. Ubeloshen Chazal, the Chazal saying the Agode, Va'achshov keirvonu amokim lavedose. Now means by Avram, the Eibishter brought us close to serve him. So it's not that the Yidden, starting from Avram, but this represents the Yidden Bechlal, did something that got close to the Eibishter. That's true, they did that, but that's not the Nekuda here. The point it's trying to say is the Eibishter did something to bring him closer to them. Or the Loshen of the Rambam, that Kervona Amokim lay Vivdonim Eumas for Kervona Yichudei. That the Eibishter made us close to him, separated us from the nations, and made us close to the unity of Hashem. That means that the connection that we speak about Avram and the Yidden is a connection that starts completely from the Eibishter. Since it came from the Creator, is moving at Ibnei Yisrael. I need nor noch asug in the bria. So we understand that the Yidden are not just another category, a higher category, but another category in the creation. We're similar. There are creatures, the creation. We're also part of the same creation. In the creation, we're another category of creation. But that means we're all in the general idea of the creation. So it's not just this, that the Yidden are another category in the creation, versus geworden entered, so maybe sharpen the Adam, that they became closer to Hashem more than the rest of the people. Because it's in ganzen another mahus, it's a complete different mahus, it's a different kind of quality that the Yidden have. They're different. That their connection doesn't come from within them, which Chassidus would call Memata Lamayla, came from the Eibishter. And that's completely different than the rest. Why? Every part of the creation, the Goyim, those who are close to Hashem, they still remain a Metzias, because their whole creation is based on their Metzias. He recognized Hashem, understood how you have to listen to Hashem, and did it. So it's all limited to the person. And they remain who they are, close to Hashem. But the Eden, their mahus is godliness within the creation. Because not only the neshama of a Yid is part of Hashem, like it says in Tanya, even when the neshama is down here in the body, the neshama is part of Hashem. Nor wegen dem Gufen a Yidin wird gesagt, even concerning the body of a Yid, it says, that Eibishter chose us from all nations. The Eibishter chose us, and that's what we have to think in when we say before Krishna, we say that he chose us, and it says in Tanya, he chose our bodies. So the Neshama Avad, and even the body of a Yid, is chosen by Hashem. And B'meile, it's not the Metzias of the Nivra. By all other nations, is the Nivra got close to Hashem. And here, the Eibishter made us close to him. And he is completely beyond. Weil der ist der Chilik zwischen den Mitzvahs Bnei Noach und den Mitzvahs, welche Yidden sind non gesagt geworden. This is also the difference between the mitzvahs of the Goyim, of all the Bnei Noach, and the mitzvahs that were given to Yidden. It's not a Chilik in Kamus, Zayin oder Yag. It's not a Chilik in quantity. Whether you have 7, they have 7, and we have 613. There's a Chilik in Eiches and Mohus. It's Chilik in quantity. It's a different type. Our mitzvahs is a different type than the mitzvahs that the Goyim have. The mitzvahs b'nei neach is teichnan b'yikeh the yishuv elam. The mitzvahs of the Goyim, their main teichen, their main contents is that will bring the world to be civilized. Like it says in Posik, in Yeshaya it says that the world was created Sheves Yitzorah, to be to be civilized, to be settled properly. The zichuch adam, that means that it's something that the people should be purified, should be proper. Adamina medarber so sein kann die Welt kann that the species of people, of humanity, and the world bechal should be proper. In order for the world to be a proper world, you have to have these mitzvahs. Und die Ausgeedelkeit, mit Schleimes von Welt, und mina medaber wird, and the complete purification of the human race and of the whole world, because is when the Eden, the Goyim, the people, fulfill their 7 mitzvahs, that makes the world a purified world. And therefore, these mitzvahs are mitzvahs that it's possible to do it also piseichel. Smash from the Rambam. The Rambam says that, Rabbi brings it in order 32. The Rambam says that Eden are obligated to see that the Goyim keep the 7 mitzvahs, and anybody who does keep 7 mitzvahs, any Goy, is called Chasidu Yom. But that's only if he does it because Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu by Matan Torah to tell the Goyim that they have to do it. But the Rambam says, but if he doesn't do it for that reason, it's still fine. He's not called a Chosid U'Meselam. He's called a Chocham. He's called Mechachameim. He's a Chocham. There is a girsa that Rebbe says that it says Le Mechachameim. According to that, it's not like that. But the normal, regular girsa is that they're Chacham. What does this show? That you could be a Chocham without accepting the Eibishter and come to a decision that you have to do the Shaveh Mitzvahs, because these are things which make sense, that if you keep them, the world is a proper world. So it comes out, if you put it in these words, that the mitzvahs are a result of the world. There is a Bria, there is a creation. As a result of the creation, the Eibishter had to give the mitzvahs to make sure that the creation is to its shleim, which is complete. That's the mitzvahs of the Goyim. Vashenka, the mitzvahs from Eden, is in yon, the mitzvahs of the Eden, their union is not nor the zichuch adam. It's not only to purify the person, which is true. The Rebbe brings in the order. There's a medrash that says that the mitzvahs were given l'tzara b'emes abriyas to purify the people. It's true, but that's not the only reason to purify the people of the world. No, the main thing is that this connects you to the Eibishter, imabeira with the Creator. Und das ist mahusaf von der mitzvah. That's the purpose of the mitzvah. We balde das ayin von safse v'chiber imabeira. If the mitzvahs are given by the Eibishter, because the Eibishter wants you to be close to him, connect Eden to the Eibishter. So it comes out that the mitzvahs of the Eden are a result of the Beira, the Creator. The mitzvahs of the Goyim are a result of the creation. The mitzvahs of the Eden are a result because the Eibishter wants you to do this, and B'meila, he wants you to be close, he brings you close. And if you say the mitzvah of the Goyim is a result of the creation, the mitzvah of the Eden are a result of the Creator, makes the mitzvahs of the Eden and the mitzvah of going bein arech, no comparison whatsoever. Nivrum beira zayin bein arech lagamre. The Creator and the creation are far the furthest apart possible. So he's moving stuff from that we understand. As kishem with the mitzias hanivr is nit tevis nokel lagabe the beira, just like the mitzias of a creature, part of the creation. Lagabe the Creator is nothing. If he made it, it means betzim he didn't have to make it. So anything that's in the creation is bein arech, far away from the Creator. And therefore, is sein aved in the tevis mokem lagabe. So lagabe the Creator, whatever a person does doesn't mean much, because the creation doesn't mean anything. And der Weg wie die Zafse wird aufgetan is nicht durch dem Sichtverlief von dem Boden. So in order there should be a real connection to the Creator, it can't come from the creation. It has to come from Him. So it's not because a person elevated himself and purified himself. Durch seine Yediyah v'akor and Lakus, by knowing and recognizing Hashem, or the welches is hergish v'avedenaidas from the Bedodim, or any type of feeling that that person might have in the service of Hashem, and he gets close to Hashem. It's all a result of the creation. Nor durch dem, was der Eibishter hat Beichel gewesen und angesucht. When is there a real connection to the Creator? Only when you do things that Hashem, the Creator, chose, and He commanded. The say durch Tzivay Hashem v'kiyumei, by Hashem's commanding and fulfilling it. And the Rebbe in Order 35 brings from a Maimer to Friedige Rebbe, where he gives a big mushal of a big Chocham and somebody who's not a Chocham at all. And when the big Chocham gives a command to the Chocham and he does it, that brings a connection that the Chocham, the big Chocham, makes between the low person and him. So he goes in Tarichas of the Moshe, but the same thing here. So where is there a real connection to the Eibishter mitzvah, the Eibishter side? That's if it comes from the Eibishter, and that's the mitzvahs of the Eden. by the Meshach Yid Avram Avinu. And this idea that the Yid is connected to the Eibishter, not because of what he did as a result of his Aveda, but it comes from the Eibishter. The Torah stresses this gleich by the Meshach Yid Avram Avinu. Right away by the first Yid Avram Avinu, as ein Ausgeteilt, I'll see that his specialty as a Yid, und sein Meile and his Meile, hebt sich on in der Torah, Meise Oves. So that starts the way it's written in the Torah, and the Torah, whatever is written in the Torah, is called Meise Oves. That's the action of the Oves, which is connected to the children, which means to the Yidden. That means this represents what the Yidden are, is nicht mit seine, so the connection is not because of his gewaltige Meiles, his Meiles. Und in sein Kirve l'Elokus durch Avidose b'keichatzmei. The Meiles of the person of Avram Avinu, because he was so great, and he decided to do great things. Was is given by him, Eichfri, which he had those Meiles before, the Lech Lecho. Nor mit Vayemer Hashem al Avram Lech Lecho. The whole thing starts, connection, the real connection of Avram, which represents Yidden, to the Eibishter, because the Eibishter came to him and told him something. Then what the Eibishter told him was, the Eibishter made him special. The Eibishter took him out from the others and made him special. So I sheiches with Weikitz mit dem Eibishten. Wie steht in Teire, his connection to Hashem, the way the Teire puts it, hat sich aufgetan al diese and it's Hashem, happened through this thing that Hashem, he was commanded by Hashem, and that Makayim given them tzivui, and he did the commandment. So the fact that he was commanded by Hashem, that means Hashem came to him and commanded him. So that all starts by the Eibishter. And B'meila, the connection of a Yid is from the Eibishter side, which is not a connection that came as a result of his Aved. And we hear in the orders, the Rebbe, in the order 38, the Rebbe brings from the Maral Miprog and Netzach Yisrael, and he says that the Milas of Avram were not mentioned before Lech Lecho, so you shouldn't think that Hashem chose Avram and his children because of what they did. And in there says also, the Rebbe brings, that that's a difference between Yidden and Goyim. So it fits to what the Rebbe says here in the Sikha, that Avram's connection comes from the Eibishter side, not from the Aved of a Yid. And then the Rebbe in the order 39 says, and the main thing is that the Eibishter commanded him. It's not even that the Eibishter just chose him, and we see that by the Eibishter saving him from the furnace. The Eibishter already chose him. And it's not because the Eibishter spoke to him, but he was commanded. And that's the point. Commanded is like we see in the Mashal that he says in Friedrich Rebbe's Maimer. The fact that he came to him and said, you have to do this. And then he keeps what he's told. The mere fact that he spoke to him is not not yet. Because it's the fact that he gave him a commandment what you have to do. And he says here, as we see Takeh, that by the Brisbane Apsorim, the Eibishter spoke to Avram Avinu. The Brisbane Apsorim happened when Avram Avinu was 70 years old. Lech Loch Hashem said to Avram when he was 75, it says in Chumash, the Poshe Pshat in Torah. Actually, in Tosfos, in Mesichta Avodah Zarah, it says that the Lech Loch, there was twice Lech Loch Hashem said, one is when he was 52 years old, etc., etc. But in simple Pshat of the Posik, Lech Loch, the Posik says, when Eibishter told Lech Loch, it says Avram ben Shivim v'chomesh shana. Avram is 75 years. Later we learn about the Brit Min Apsorim, Avram was 70 years. That means it didn't start from Lech Lecho, it started 5 years later. Hashem spoke to Avram. That's what the Rebbe says here. It's not from Hashem speaking to Avram, commanding Avram. By the Brit Min Apsorim, it didn't command him anything. But where did the real connection start? When the Eibishter commanded Avram, giving a command that makes a real connection. I want you to do this. Not just that he spoke to him. So he gave him specialty. He showed his greatness. But we're not looking to show his greatness. We're looking the tzavse v'chibur, the tzivui, the commandment, which is also Molosh and tzavse v'chibur connection, that started by Lech Lecho. And so Avram was told that and commanded that by Lech Lecho, and that's the Torah starts Avram's connection to the Eibishter is because it came from Hashem. See, the truth is, by Odom Rishon, order 41, the Rebbe says, by Odom Rishon, by Noach, we also find they were commanded to do things. But their commandments came after the Torah describes their milas. The Torah described by Odom Rishon, for instance, it says that he was created in image of Hashem. It says, Vayinechei began Eden, loved Neshama, he put them in Gan Eden to work in Gan Eden. So he worked, he did things already, he has a milah. By Dayach, it says, the Torah, his milas, Sadik. So there, the fact that the Eibishter commanded him something is no raya. It came directly from the Eibishter. Could be it's a result of their behavior That made Eibishter command him. But the Torah does not write any milas. And the Torah, it starts off with a commandment to Avram. That shows that the connection of Avram to the Eibishter comes directly from the Eibishter because he's a Yid. Eibishter chose a Yid, gave him a commandment. That's the connection he has to Avram. And the same thing goes to all Yidden. Then the Rebbe says, Torah is Meloshen Heroah. Torah comes from the word Heroah, which means a lesson. And therefore, the mit, so, and when we say the word Torah means a lesson, the mit, that gemeint alle Inyan Torah. It means everything, all the things of the Torah. As jeder Inyan the Torah is negei and nidbleis al tzayroa belimud yediyah sodom, that everything the Torah is not only important to learn, to know, like we said before, now we know what a Yid is. That's not only for that. It's a lesson for all Yidden, and for every Yid in all generations, in der Anoga Bepil Mamish, and actually doing some to behave. It teaches us some kind of behavior that we have to learn. Especially when it's something for Negei Dov, since we know that what happened to the Ovis is a simon to the Yidden later, but it's not only a simon that's in the it teaches us, it gives us the power and the energy to behave properly. Anything that the Ovis did, we take kayach from them. So here for sure, it means that it's a lesson for us to do something. And the Ramban is Bavai Barucha, and as the Ramban explains at length, as the time of the Torah is Meirich and Sipar HaMasois v'Shara Mikim from the Ovis. Why does the Torah tell us all the traveling and all the things that happen to the Ovis? In order for us to learn and know how we Yidden should behave. Is moving but not down, so we understand here too. By the Torah telling us that the main connection of Avram with Hashem starts off with this commandment of Lech Lecho. It's not only that we should know what is a Yid, what is the quality of a Yid. We should know what the mitzvahs by Yidden are like. But it's also a foundation, a beginning. It's a hero how a Yid has to be connected to the Eibishter. The connection of Yid to the Eibishter nowadays. How you have to behave in your connection to the Eibishter, which means, and there goes the practical lesson. Someone could think, as in order for a Yid should start doing mitzvahs and get close to Hashem. First, you got to learn about Yiddishkeit. Wegen the halachas mitzvahs about the halachas, about the mitzvahs of the Torah. We frat lernen wegen dem Eibishten. The Shaykh is eine zu Welt bechal nicht befrat. Learn about Hashem. Learn Hashem's connected to the world. Hashem's connected to Yidden especially. Wissen am Technin von Aves von Ninjat mitzvahs bechlal. If you had the mitzvah proteus, that you first have to learn generally what the Ninjat of mitzvahs is, and then go in every mitzvah. First learn about it. In your mind, you should know about it. The Rebbe said, what I mean to say is that some people might think as Eidim is Mekayim mitzvahs darpen the richtige Agdome v'achshore b'diyas on leburad. Before your Mekayim mitzvahs, you have to have the proper introduction, the proper preparation in the knowledge of all these things properly. And only then can you start fulfilling the mitzvahs Hashem the way you're supposed to do. As it fits when you do the mitzvahs of Hashem. If you might think that, what will you do? That didn't till now have any connection to Yiddishkeit. Not only he didn't have a connection to actual doing mitzvahs, he might not even have any knowledge in Yiddishkeit. All he knows is that he's Yid. And you might think, might think you first have to prepare him for Yiddishkeit. Learn with him things that eventually it will teach him, give him a knowledge and understanding about the Eibishter and Torah mitzvahs. Then finally get a feeling to Torah mitzvahs. And then first then you will be mekayim the mitzvahs. Now the Rebbe is saying, I don't mean to say that there are some people who would think that you have to actually wait to make him do it, tell him, show him how to do a mitzvah before he knows all these inyonim. That's for sure not. So der Rebbe continues. Tag, emes Tag, as ich Edem versteht, tun wir sich nicht abhalten vom Keims und dem Befehl. Before we understand, we still can't hold ourselves back from actually doing the mitzvah. Dar was ein Agnomes Nashel and Nishma. We all know you have to do Nasel before Nishma, meaning you have to do and then you'll try to understand. The mail about the Zen as I say, so for sure, the person we're talking about who's making that mistake will definitely make sure that the Yid who he meets, he will make sure he does mitzvahs before he even knows. But what the Rebbe is saying is over by him the regesh. A person might feel ados is fort neither that after all he has to do mitzvah because that's what you have to do. That's the order of things. The order is first comes doing the mitzvahs, nasa first. But that's not the real way to do mitzvahs. Says nor as a yes, there's noch nicht shaykhs avon but just because he's not ready yet to understand, you shouldn't wait till he will get to understand. So you do it now. But you might think that those mitzvahs are only a practical thing that you got to do because of the timeline. But that's not the real way to do mitzvah. The real way to do mitzvahs first you have to understand. Then comes the hero, comes the hero, the lesson in our parsha from Avram. Said Vayemer Hashem al Avram Lech Loch. Hashem said to Avram, go. We don't know by the milos Avram. And the Yisod Vascholos Keruve is the beginning and the foundation of his connection to Hashem is Vayemer Hashem al Avram Lech Loch Vayemer. Hashem to Avram, go. Suton, you got to do. The first things you got to do, the Tzivei Hashem, you got to do what the Eibishter wants. All the ideas is not. And the Rebbe in order 46 says that makes sense that we know Avram is called the father of all the converts, of all the Gerim, because the way Torah tells us in Torah Shebeksav and Chumash about Avram, it seems like he's a new Metzias. What's happened now, a new thing happened. Till now, you know him, Avram, as a part of the family of Terach, now is a new person. He's like a Ger. A Ger is like we know a Gershon is Ger that is Megayer is a new Metzias. So Avram is the upgrading because by him he became a new Metzias. And the Rebbe says, it's not only by Avram we find that this was the first thing in time, which, like we said before, everyone knows that the first thing in time you got to do is do mitzvahs with pale. But by Avram, it wasn't just the first thing in time. The dos is that that's the main thing in the service of Hashem. What makes a Yid connected to the Eibishter? By listening to Hashem. That says that Yesod HaAveda von Ayiden is Emunah v'Kabbalah. So Pshuto, Ton und Isfolgen und Tzivei Hashem Apel. The foundation is Emunah and Kabbalah Sale, not understanding, not working out and getting into the details, just to do what Hashem says. Hashem wants you to do it. That is the most important part. Now the Rebbe continues, just like it's concerning Yidden generally, the same thing is B'negeya every Yid in his own personal Aveda. Shas HaYid is Hashem mitzvahs HaYidi and Nigla Teira and Nipnimis HaTeira. If a Yid who keeps Teira mitzvahs, understands, has knowledge in the revealed part of Teira and in the inner part of Teira, and he has and he recognizes understanding the creator of the world, he has love and fear of Hashem. When he comes to do a mitzvah, you have to know. The main thing is not all the understanding that you have in Avavir. The main nekuda you have when you go to do a mitzvah, I'm going to do the commandment of Hashem. Like the lotion that we say when we make a brocha before any mitzvah, we say Asher Kedishonu, the mitzvah, we thank Hashem. You made us holy with your mitzvahs, and you commanded us. Obeifen, in a way that it says in Lekut Torah, if Hashem would have commanded us instead of the mitzvah, give us a mitzvah to chop wood, we would do it with the same Mesiras Nefesh. That hadn't, because if you feel as ein Sheiches am Eibishten, besteht itzt im Ton mitzvah peil. Your connection to Hashem is by just doing the mitzvah peil. Andere Iluyim und seine Avede, seinen als nur in die Gdorim von Nivra. Everything else you do that you're doing because you feel and you understand, that's a creature, that's creation. And the actual mitzvah is the Eibishter. That is what the Eibishter wants you to do, and that's what you have to feel. Dafki Nasiyas mitzvahs from the Eibishter, only by doing the mitzvahs of the Eibishter, Vert Ayid Nichlel, and he's quoting here a lotion from Tanya, Ayid becomes part of Eir Hashem, or Tzeinei, and Eibishter's light and Eibishter's will, you become connected to Hashem. So This is what you have to do. Even you might have all these avavir. In order 50, the Rebbe adds, l'chura having avavir is also a mitzvah. Recognizing Hashem is also a mitzvah. So how do we say that it's not because of avavir? So the Rebbe says, "Ein chaname." What he means is not because of the mitzvah of avavir. If you do it because avavir itself is a mitzvah, fine, that goes into the same category. But what he's saying, don't do it because avavir, I love Hashem. It's only if it's a mitzvah to love Hashem, and I love Hashem because of the mitzvah. And so then you connect with Hashem because Hashem gave you the mitzvah and you kept the mitzvah. But if you do it because of your avas Hashem yourself, that's not it. Then the Rebbe continues now. Apizeh Yumtek was der Linien, als der Chibur Amite von Aiden mit Neibischen tut sich auf mit Zivri Hashem. Und durch dem was der Ried ist mit Kaim Zivri. Based on what we said before, that the real connection of a Yid to the Eibishter happens because the Eibishter commanded, and we keep the mitzvah, the Tzivui of Hashem. So we'll understand why he's gesagt geworden in the Eibishter's Onzug, Lech Lochem Erzochem Elatochem Isavicha. What was, so that we still now, it makes no difference what the Eibishter said. The Eibishter said to him, do something. And that itself is the connection. But the Rebbe says, but Lepeah, look at it, what was it about? This was in connection to Hashem saying, go away from your land, from your birthplace, and from your father's house. Das ist der Teichen in von Lech Lochem Erzochem Elatochem Isavicha. The meaning, the deeper meaning of go away from your land, of your birthplace, and your father's house, the deeper meaning is the concept of giving up yourself and doing it all because the Rebbe said. I mean, the Rebbe touches like it's explained in many places. Lech Lochem Erzochem, go away from your land means geh avek von deiner Retzenis. Go away from your will. Eretz is losherotz. The word eretz comes from the word will. Go away from your will. Memelade means von deiner Geweinheiten und Midas. Go away from your birthplace means from things that you're used to, your habits, which are your Midas. From your father's house, we know in Chassidus, it says that father is Meichen, is Av, Chochmeh. Von deiner Meichen, go away from Av, Chochmeh. Which means like this, David told him, go away from yourself. Was Chosh by Yidden, was his boy sein, die alle Rezenis zu Keches reinget und Yekdusha Velakus. By a real Yid who does things properly, what are his Rezenis? What does he want? What are his keches? They're all in holy things. They're all in godliness. But dugma me'ein v'isi given by Avram. Just like by Avram. Before David told him, Lech Lecho, go away from your will. What was his will? His will the whole time was do good things. Deswegen ist der Weg zu vereinigen sich mit dem Nebischen, darf durch dem, so geht er raus von seinem Metzies. The way to connect to Hashem is going away from your own Metzies, your own being, away from your Retzenis, from your will, and from your Midas, and from your Mechen. Eich von seinem Metzies, even the holy part of you, go away from it. Und wo darf sein der Tachlis von Lech Lecho? Where should you go? To the land that I will show you. What does the word land again mean? It means Rotzen. Uisufin dem Eretz Rotzen was der Eibishter weiß. You didn't even tell him where to go at the moment. He told him, go the will that I will show you. Give up your own things and do what I am telling you. So that's the teichen of what we said before, that the connection of Avram to the Eibishter came from the Eibishter Tzivut. Now, Pizeder Rebbe says that verändert the kasha von Ramban and Al-Sifal. This answers the kasha of the Ramban, the beginning of the Siche. Was for an Ort hat zum Aftir sein, as Aschar beleis verkiim Tzivi Hashem, it's Yis Artzing. He says, what is the meaning that Eibishter promised him such a great reward for just doing this command of leaving the land? Leaving the land, big deal. Now we understand. Weil durch dem Kiyum, by doing this, wer der Emes Erinje von Mitzvahs, der Etzem Kiyum Tzivi Hashem, is der Tachlis und bringt dem Schlimmes Aschar. The fulfillment of doing this. This is what the mitzvahs are. By doing this, you are doing what the mitzvah really is, which is the Eibishter. And that automatically brings the complete schar, complete reward. And since we said the real shleimus, when you do a mitzvah completely, is and means connection to the Eibishter completely, is when you do the mitzvah because the Eibishter said so, not because you feel. The Eibishter for that gives you a reward that doesn't exist in the world, the Loshen of the Ramban, a reward which is that the Ramban's Loshen, it's no such thing in the world, meaning it's beyond the world, because you're connected to the Eibishter beyond the Nivra, because you're connected not because you, as good as you are, but it's still you. Not because of that, it's because of the Eibishter. So the Eibishter gives you schar, which is beyond the world. This inyan is also hinted in the contents of the reward, which are the brochas Hashem gave. What did it say here? Nicht nur is in dem, was the brochas in Mutkish, with the Salzkum von Eibishter. Not only is, first of all, The way the Torah gives, the Eibishter gave him the brachas, it stresses that the Eibishter is doing it. He said, "Ve'es cholegei gadol, I will make you for a big nation. Va'avorechecha, I will bless you. Va'agad l'shmecha, I will make your name big. Nit b'loshen nifal va'yisol yigod, not as a fact that's going to happen. It doesn't say you will become a big nation. I will make you. Nor eichin dem was, so that's number one, shows that everything's from the Eibishter, not from the Nivra side. It's from the Beta, from the Creator. Nor eichin dem was teichen abrachas is the inyan from godless, gay godel. Also, look at what the brachas are, is greatness. He says, I'll make you a great nation. Va'agadlo, I'll make you big. Gadlo, what's big? What's the inyan from big? The remes inyan from godless is Norba the Meivishnu. Nothing in the world is really big. What about big? Everything's relative. Is a foot big? Yeah, compared to an inch, it's big. Compared to 2 feet, it's not. So everything is not really big. It's not essentially big because there's something that could be bigger. The only thing that's really big is the Eibishter, because if this Eibishter is bleak vul, has no limit, so that's the tachlis of godless. But nivroim etzadatzman is nito godless amitis. But creatures, there's no real godless. Not really, nothing that could be really big. Und die godless welche is do in der Brie, and this fact that there is godless in creation. Like he said to him, I'll give you greatness. Only if you're connected to the Eibishter who has the real godless, because he is Beligvul. So in this bracha we see godless. The other words of the bracha. In the other parts we also see that Avram is one part with Hashem. But the far is v'yei bracha. What did the Eibishter say? One of the things, you will be bracha. What you will be a blessing? No. The Rasha says it means habrachas nesunas biyodcha, that the brachas to bless people is in your hands. Till now it was my hands, the Eibishter says. Now you bless whoever you want. So what do we see here? He said to him, you become like the Eibishter, which means you become really miyucha to the Eibishter now. It says more. I'll bless those that bless you, and I'll curse those that curse you. Meaning, as a bracha to Avram, bring a bracha from the Eibishter. Means that if someone gives a bracha to Avram, gets automatically a bracha from the Eibishter. Well, there is a Leib, the same thing, the opposite. It's all because Avram and Eibishter became a yuchad at this point. And by doing the Aveda, like we said before, Lech that you leave your eretz and miladta misavicha, which means your will and your habits and your meichen and you leave everything of your own. But yet, everyone knows Aveda. If he does that, this Lech Lecha, this will make the fulfillment that we will get the land, Poshet, the land that Hashem promised, and He said, I'll show you, which is the Eibishter bringt Eden in Eretz Yisrael. The Eibishter will bring Eden in Eretz Yisrael, make find dort in Gadlus and Shleimus Oretz. We find there the land complete. Hashem will broaden the borders. He will get also the lands of the other three nations, which we never got yet. The Shleimer Rebbe says, even them, they were also given already, even though in the order the Rebbe says they were not Eretz Yisrael yet, but they were given to Avram already then. And the bris ben Absonim, Vibal der selbe bris given auf alles Narotza, since it one covenant for all 10, maybe this is included, so they got it already. And this will happen. Begula mitzvah shleima al Mashiach tzedkeinu b'meira b'yameinu mamish.